Greetings from the past, my fellow time travelers, and welcome back to another episode of The Ladder. My name is Ty, and we left off with Becca and Luke fighting because Kylie is his niece, I guess, and she thought he is a pedophile. And I wonder how this is going to turn out.
And even my wife of all people in this bloody city, has never, I'm telling you, accused me of such a scandalous thing! You crazy woman!
Married or not, you're still a sleaze. Honestly, I feel...
Miss Pink, why are you fighting with my Teal?
Whatever word still left to be said here dies on my tongue. The same thing goes for the sleaze. Beside us stands Kylie, gawking at us with that same curious stare she often brings with her. I know that look all too well, a precautious child through and through. She doesn't say anything further, her gaze simply moves between us, eyeing us both carefully, clearly anticipating an answer. From my experience, when it gets like this with children her age, it's a sure sign they won't leave you until you've given them an answer they are satisfied with. Lying won't do either. It has dissolved into a shouting match, for heaven's sake. And did you just say Tio? Something falls straight to the pit of my stomach at that. But my tone is gentle when I finally address her, void of any apprehension and what might be the first hints of embarrassment. I pointedly ignore the later. It can very well be just the hunger speaking.
Kylie, sweetie, do you know this oaf?
Yeah, he's Teal Luke.
Right at the moment, my brain stops. Every line of thought, every argument I still have against the man beside me dissipates in a haze. Amidst all of it, one memory gets triggered from a few days ago.
Tio? The one you mentioned before? The uncle? The guy Rowan wanted to impress? Or was that a dare? I'm sorry, I can't recall. Is it the one who promised he'll take Big Brother someplace cool?
Yeah, the one and the same. Don't you know who he is?
I sure as hell don't, darling. Because if I do, I wouldn't have let everything I've said earlier come out of my mouth.
He's my Teal Luke. Gazillionaire extraordinaire, am I? No, the fairy godfather.
He's your godfather. That's nice.
The one and only. Did I get that right, Teal?
More than right, sweetheart. I'm sure Miss Pink here understood everything you said quite perfectly.
Whatever it is that landed at the bottom of my stomach prior has shoot straight up to my face and stayed there. The heat from it slowly spreading to my cheeks, coloring my face in almost the same shade as my hair. If only the earth would swallow me whole here and now. His eyes are on me. I can feel them jeering, mocking. I can't even bring myself to look at him. What's in there? Amusement? I doubt it. He's probably having the time of his life right now. But I know I can hear the sneer in his tone alone when he talks. He has that smug grin on him, which I may or may not want to punch off his face at present, just for the hell of it. But damage control! I need to do some damage control before this whole thing goes south. Safe. Apologies to Luke, apologies to Kylie. Gah! I should apologize to Luke because I was the one doing something wrong, but it's Kylie. Ah, come on. I'm going to apologize to Luke because Becca doesn't know what he has done before, and I also would have apologized to him because I screwed something up. So, and we didn't do anything to Kylie. And also it's a good thing to be a good, well, and responsible adult to do so. Oh, fuck my life. Oh wow. Though it pains me to apologize to a sleazebag like him, this is my mistake. With Kylie watching us close by, I don't want to set a bad example for her, do I? I'm surprised she grew up the child she is. If anything, I want to be the role model this man couldn't possibly become from her. Even if it means taking a few blows to my ego and stroking his insufferable one. A deep gulp of air, a short moment to swallow my self-respect, and then I'm facing him. The words are out of my mouth in a single breath.
I'm really, really sorry, sir. I had no idea.
His smirk is impossible to miss. He's not making an effort to hide it, and even the smile is so irritatingly present in his tone. If I could slap it off him, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Now, it's an honest mistake, Daisy.
No, I really mean it. I actually thought you were... And then...
It's fine now. It probably happens quite a lot to a few people who look suspicious to you. Seems I'm one of them now. But don't lose sleep over it. Do be careful with that book, though. A little more and you would have dislodged my poor brain off my head. What would I ever do if that happens?
Oh no! Did it leave a mark or anything? If you want, we can have it checked. I'll handle the expenses if there's a need for it.
Now, what kind of man would I be if I let an attractive woman such as yourself do that? Why don't we just look at it this way? My forgiveness is coming from the utter goodness of my heart.
So full of himself. Exactly the kind of person I'll happily leave to die in a ditch somewhere.
Of course, sir. Why didn't I think of it that way?
I know, right? But even someone as capable as you is bound to have a few lapses. No harm done, Daisy. Let's move on from this.
I'm called Becca,
Well,
Daisy.
if you're going to put it like that, then I guess there's nothing left for us to talk about.
I figured as much.
Awkward. The whole exchange is nothing but an awkward display of fake pleasantries. One that brings much agony to the very pride I've willingly held back a while ago. I might need a drink later, so I can forget any of this ever happened. Who would have thought the time would come when I'd meet someone tougher to handle than Isabella? Miracles of miracles, I swear. Though to my surprise, he proffers me a hand shortly before they leave. For a shake, I realize after a long minute of staring at it. I accept it, albeit half-heartedly. But all of the goodwill that small gesture represents melts into thin air when he winks at me. Winks. The god of this man! However, there is no moment to ponder about it. Seconds later, the guy at the counter waves me over and hands me a paper bag as soon as I've paid. He offers me another smile before I leave. Normally, I return it simply for the sake of returning it, or I don't at all, with the latter happening more commonly. For the time being, I do so freely. After that encounter and scene we've caused, seeing a friendly gesture being extended to me, albeit from a person I barely know on a personal level, it feels like a reassurance, despite bearing no promise of better days. I take what little I can of it with me as I step out into the night. Journal update. Yeah. Where are we? There. While lining up to buy dinner, Rebecca saw Kaidi Suarez with a suspicious man. Assuming it was a kidnapping, Rebecca elected to take the matters in her own hands, only to find out that the man was the girl's godfather, Luke Wright. An embarrassed Rebecca apologized afterwards. Good girl. A cloudless night sky greets me when I walk out of the cafe. Beyond the tall buildings, a blanket of stars spreads out before me. Isabella once told me that the best place to view it is some place outside the city, away from the noise and the obtrusive lights. She'd seen it once in her mom's hometown and another time at the university she used to attend. Then she asked if it's possible to try it out here sometime. I agreed with her at the time, if only because she appeared excited at the mere prospect of it. We made just little plans along with Zachary and Ashton. Though up until now, we never got around it. Even so, I find myself enjoying this, despite being told it's only half the experience. Little things, you know. Stuff you learn to appreciate when you're alone. Because at certain times, you get to meet people who are unfortunately born with the innate talent to ruin the mood and the scene with their mere existence alone. For example, the very driver of the car fast approaching my direction. Luckily, he doesn't notice me. But the fleeting moment we pass each other by gives me a brief glance of the people he's with. Yo. Luke and Kylie. And her. Kylie's sitting on the backseat with a serving of bread pudding in her hands. And beside him, it must be his wife. He takes a turn and disappears at the nearest corner. But throughout the night, That curious glimpse of all things to bother me has left me wondering what kind of person his wife is. And more than that, is a silent prayer to the universe. I hope I don't ever cross paths with that douche again. That was a good joke. After having such an eventful day, anyone will think nothing will surprise me anymore. But here I am, standing at the top of the stairwell, watching an odd scene unfold before me. Relief crosses my mind first, followed by confusion.
What is she doing there?
Although given what happened this morning, the question feels a bit inappropriate to ask directly. What's important is that Isabella's here. She's sitting cross-legged on the hallway just right in front of her room, with several papers and folders scattered about. Each of them seems as important as the next. More than once, upon giving the scene a quick scan, I spot Briar Reality's logo at the topmost area of the pages. Everything considered, it looks like a mess made by a third grader working on crunch time. The landlady will have a few things to say about this when she finds out. I have a few things to say about this myself, in fact. But something in the calm, focused manner she holds herself at present keeps me from disturbing her with that reminder. She is going through each paper with this intensity. Her brows are furrowed, lips in a tight line, both hands moving in precise movements as she shifts through each sheet of paper. Well, when she finds something of note, she moves closer, nose almost touching whatever paper she's holding, and grabs her phone to call someone.
Ah, hello. Sorry to call you this late. There's something I just want to confirm, if that's okay. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Okay. Thanks anyway. Not that one either.
It's a cycle. She goes through call after call. Then after the last one ends, she shuffles through the pile again and dials another number. Is it work? I've never seen her this engrossed with her own work before. Otherwise, she would have noticed my presence the moment I've reached our floor. After the 9th call, she still appears as oblivious to it as when I've arrived. When she lets out a loud sign this time, I immediately take that as an opportunity to interrupt.
Isabella, you know the house rules here.
At once, her head jerks back and hits the concrete wall behind her with a thump. That's the Isabella I know. Glad it's still there. I allow her a moment to nurse it before speaking again.
Becca, you're late.
Yeah, I ran into a little trouble at the cafe. But I brought food for the two of us, if you haven't eaten anything yet.
As anticipated, she grins once I raise the bag of food I'm holding. Yet, it doesn't reach her eyes. There's nothing of the cheerful glint in this time. Just a hollow tone for the sake of being polite. Ashton's right. Something's happened.
Yeah, maybe later. I've gotta finish this first. Just leave it here. I'll eat it once I'm done. Thanks, Becca.
You can't eat this here. You know how the landlady would react. Why are you even working outside? Your room's right there.
I know. Sorry. It just feels stuffy in my apartment right now. I'll go back inside once everything's been aired out. I promise.
That has never bothered you before.
Well, it bothers me now.
Oh, really? Just now? I find that hard to believe.
Yeah? Shouldn't you be happy? I mean, you've been complaining even if it's not your room. Now I know how you're feeling when it's messy, so I'm going to clean. Isn't that a good thing?
In spite of what's supposed to be good news, an exhale comes from me, drawn out and slow.
It's a good thing, Isabella. Believe me, but you're as bad as Zachary at lying. What's really going on?
She hastily averts her eyes. A surefire indicator this is going to be one of those lengthy conversations that can possibly end with the other person angry. Again. It's one thing I'd like to avoid tonight at all costs. Still, I've made a promise to Ashton and Zachary. If she didn't talk to them, who else is she going to talk to? If she keeps this all to herself, who knows what might happen.
Isabella, you can tell me. Is it about your family?
A slight movement of her lips. Although a frown, it's a reaction at least. I'm getting there.
Rose?
She merely shakes her head. Just a little more.
Come on, I know something happened. I don't know if it's because of Rose, but I know it's related to her somehow. You weren't here when I visited this morning, and both Zachary and Ashton are worried about you. If you don't want to tell them, you can tell me. Does it have something to do with work? Office?
If I didn't know her, I might have missed it. She shifts then, her fist clenching tight and teeth biting her lower lip. And there's fear. The look of terror in her is the last thing I expected to see out of everything. Her mouth trembles briefly before she opens them. When she finally voices it out, the words simply spill out of her mouth, one after another. All of it. True to what I've promised her, I listen. Because this is something she's been keeping to herself, even from the two most dependable people I know. The fact she chooses to tell me, this speaks a lot to me.
Becca, she was there again last night? In the office? Boss passed me all of Rose's Lurk load yesterday. For the Ermengarde mansion. I had to stay late to finish them all. And then... when I was about to go home, I saw her. I saw her again! She was standing in front of me again last night, Becca. I couldn't get away. She was blocking the door. If I hadn't hidden myself, even if I made the tiniest noise, if she found me, Becca, she almost did! If she saw me under my table, I think that would have been the end of it. I'm scared. I'm so scared I won't be able to do anything!
By the end, her hands tremble and her breathing comes out in rasping intervals. For a long moment, I let the silence stretch out between us, let her sobs fill it in instead. But even as her soft whimpers die down minutes later, there is a heaviness hanging in the air. Not just from her, but also from me. From my exasperation over this whole matter. From my own frustrations over her stupid superstitions, when she could do us all a favor and grow a backbone. She may be young, but she's no longer that young. It's about time to put an end to this. No. She can't keep going on like this. She's still got plenty of years to live out. And what if she goes home? What if we are no longer there to keep her fears in line with what's real? What would she do then? I am more afraid for her, for what that kind of imagination will do to her, than of what some imaginary monster could. But with the manner she's looking at me now, there's an expectation in it, a hope and a plea, soon together. She wants me to believe her this time. If it's like that, then what am I supposed to say now? What she wants to hear or what she needs to? I'm going to save. This again, is this why you didn't go home last night? Sorry. That's what I want to. As much as I want to set her straight, a reprimand isn't what she needs right now. With the pouty face she's giving me, I doubt it will even end well if I push it. I know her. When she wants to be stubborn, she is stubborn. But there are moments when she can be acquiescing too. Times when she will be more accepting of what I tell her, despite her inclination to disagree with. That talk can wait. In the meantime, I'll be the ear that listens to her without judging her, without criticizing her despite my own opinions on it.
You should have called me.
She stares at me like I've grown another head, and the laughter slips out before I can stop myself.
There? I can't do that! What will you do? Hit her with a book? You'll be dead before that happens. And
That isn't what I'm talking about. After you got out. You should have phoned me. You didn't have to go to Zachary's.
The corners of her mouth curl up. A sheepish smile by general definition, but this is Isabella. Her smiles are never half-hearted, never lacks her high spirits. In spite of this, I know everything's going to be okay. Somehow. After all, she's learned how to pick herself up long ago, long before we met.
oh, yeah. Sorry. I don't even remember how I ended up in Zach's place. I was in a hurry to get out of the office, and it was already late. Besides, I don't really think you'll believe me if I wake you up over something like that.
That's beside the point. True or not, there are people who will always be concerned about you. There's Zachary, but he's the first person you went to, and you didn't tell him anything. You just slept there. There's Ashton too, and me. But how do you think I'll be able to explain to your aunt or your family if you suddenly disappeared? Think about that.
Right. I'll remember that next time.
Please. Then she grins. Playful and mischievous, a preamble to an older banter. It's still not quite there, still not quite her usual self, but with it, I know we're bound to get her back soon.
Mom.
I told you not to call me that.
I stand an elbow to her side for added measure, but when laughter follows the familiar gesture, none of it is unexpected. This is what's comfortable. This is how we have found an equal ground despite our stark differences. So, for the moment, I accept things as they are. Afterwards, a hush stretches out before us. For Isabella, this is rare. This isn't her. Yet in this moment, as she fiddles with the edge of another paper near her, as she hugs her knees close to herself and lets a pensive expression linger on her, it feels strangely fitting. As if this is where everything's supposed to lead to if we allow it long ago. Seconds later, the moment is broke by the sound of a door easing open and a voice begging some little piece.
How many times have I told you girls not to loiter around the hallway? It's noisy. Some people here are trying to sleep. Quiet down or go do your talking inside. I'm pinning a memo to your door the next time this happens. Millennials.
Sorry. We won't do it again.
You'd better.
The door closes and Isabella starts gathering the mess she made, carefully stacking them all in her arm. At a loss for what to do, I help her pick them, and for the first time I get a closer look at it. Completely unintentional, of course, but it catches my attention. Nevertheless, and a confused frown makes its way to my face. Why is she looking through this? What is it? I look to her for an explanation, but she merely ignores the question in my eyes, takes the paper off my hands and finishes cleaning up. The last paper she puts on top is a letter. The one she supposedly found in the mansion and what's probably the root cause of this odd behavior. I shoot her a question and look for that too, but all she gives me is a smile. And in a halting tone, so completely unlike her.
Becca, I'll find a way out of this. You guys don't have to worry about me. Anyways, I should go. I'll see you later.
Where are you going?
Oh, you're being so tough. Whoa. Stop.
Getting myself some food. Don't wait for me.
Isabella walks away before I can stop her. Before I can remind her I've brought food enough for the two of us. Well, that's Isabella. Bad at lying as always. But guys, that's it for this episode this time. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like, subscribe to my channel. If you aren't subscribed, click on the notification bell down below so you get notified when I upload my videos. Share this on all your social media, and guys, I will see you in the future or back in the latter. Bye bye. Now I'm hungry.